In the tunnels of life, we hold our breath, we close our eyes.
We are live. Hello, everyone. Hopefully this is working. I got my boy Matt here. There he is.
What's up?
He's just going to appear as a name the whole chat, you know? He's very mysterious.
Whatever. Yeah, that's how I like it.
You know, he is known as Zero. He is very fortunate to have not only a shit ton of talent and is one of the coolest things I've heard in a little while in our genre. It's actually a little cross genre, but it popped up on my radar in our genre. With all that aside, I think the most impressive thing is that you somehow got the Instagram handle at Zero.
Yeah.
How the fuck did you do that?
So when I first started making money doing music, like 4 or 5 years ago, I had like all of it just in a bank account. I was saving it all, and I know someone who can kind of somehow get Instagram handles or whatever. So he agreed to this guy that had the initial hand, like the first one that had at Zero.
Yeah.
And he was like, he said, I'll give it to you for like $5,000. And I was like, bro, that's all I have. I was like, I only have $5,000. He was like, I don't know what to tell you. I was like, fuck it. So I gave him that it was like my first 2 checks I've ever gotten off of music, and I gave him all of it. But it worked out in the long run. I've had it for like 3 years or something like that. So.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, you know, That'd be great. Like next year, like Instagram tanks and everybody moves to some new platform. That would suck.
I feel like it has to hold some value, right? Still?
Dude, I think it's
even with no users.
It's branding, and I mean, I've always believed in Instagram ever since it started, just because of the visual nature of it. Everything's just so clean. It's simpler. I mean, everything else out there. Like when I started using Twitter, I just look like vomit to my eyes, and maybe I'm just a very,
No, I get it. And plus, people don't tend to post 40 times. Like a normal person doesn't tend to post 40 times a day on Instagram.
Right.
But on Twitter, you can post like 140 times a day, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There's no repercussions.
Hey, I mean, it's probably a smart move in the long run when it comes to branding and kind of securing your place.
Yeah, and that's what I figured. I was like, this has to be a good idea. And I know $5,000 is probably on the low end of some of these handles. Like I'm sure these 3-letter and 4-letter handles probably go for a lot more than that. So I was like, it's my first major investment into myself, so I might as well do it.
That's wild, man. Hey, if you're going, go big, go all the way in. And I actually did a similar thing on a much lower, like backstreet kind of level with this one dude I found online who was Jonny Hawkins on Twitter. And I just started messaging him, and I was like, hey, man, I'm trying to lock down like my name, you know, in public on all these social media platforms. Even though I didn't really use Twitter, I was like, I just kind of want to have it in case I start. And he's like, how much were you thinking? And I was like, $200. He was like, okay. And I was like, I'll throw in some free drinks next time we play the UK. He was a guy from England. And I was like, I'll get you backstage passes or whatever.
The guy on Twitter does not want me to have it. He's the worst human being. I swear to God. He just wants to see me suffer. I don't know what it is. He like tweets once every year, like on the dot, so that I can't have it. It's insane. And
he's a squatter.
He does not want to get rid of it. I'm like, when I finally got him to like answer me for the first time, he was like, to be honest, bro, I don't even use it. I'm not allowed to use Twitter because of my job. I just want to keep it. And I was like, come on, dude.
What?
I don't know. It's unbelievable.
Do you think he has an ulterior motive? He's like really thinking he's going to wait for your value to go up and then you're just going to cave?
I don't know, because it was like, at this point, it was like I had like one song out. I was like 15. And he was like, not going to happen, dude. And then I hit him up every year. I still try. I try every year. I do have 0936 on Twitter, though. So like if you do search 0936, I will come up. But yeah, it's pretty, it's a shame. Yeah, it's a shame.
He just really likes the number 0, huh?
He does. He just he likes spelling it out. I'll tell you that much.
Wow. Well, you know, you meet some stubborn people online, and you meet some nice ones. You know, maybe try the backstage passes and free drinks angle.
I'll see. This guy doesn't seem like he comes out of his house.
Oh,
He's not
so,
allowed to use Twitter because of his job. I don't even know what that means.
so this isn't the type of guy that's going to go to the show or be
He's not
lured by
bribable.
any
He's
kind
not
of
bribable.
sex, drugs, and rock and
Yeah,
roll.
nope,
Okay.
nope. This guy will not take a bribe. I'm telling you. Never met him. Don't
Well,
know what
let's
he
hunt
looks
this
like.
guy down. Let's start a coalition.
I'm down, especially if I just get like a little more, some more supporters behind me. I'm sure we can track this guy down somehow. Someone has to know him.
Oh,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? In real life. So,
I mean, it's pretty creepy how much information you can find nowadays. I mean, I tracked a guy who stole my phone. One time I lost my iPhone in a movie theater. It like slipped out of my pocket, went in between the seats. Had no idea where I left it till the next or later that night. Went back, it was closed, couldn't get anyone's attention. Woke up the next morning, called the movie theater. They're like, if our cleaning crew would have got it, they would have turned it in. And I'm like, yeah, if they're honest, they would.
Yeah.
But so I looked up find my iPhone. This was the first time I'd used it. And I was like, thank God I turned that on. And then I found the little dot moving down on the south side of town. And not to stereotype or anything, but I assumed it was one of the cleaning people because usually they lived on that side of town. And so I looked it up and then I Google Earthed the address that it was at. And I basically found like the house, how it looked, the car in front of it. And I started texting my phone like, please return the phone. No answer. So I sent out like an alarm alert and sent this really threatening, I just totally bluffed, but I was like, I'm looking through your window right now. And I described the window and it was nighttime. I was like, totally went full out, got full creeper, man. And the guy returned it the next day, like freaked out.
Yeah, for sure. It's not worth it. You don't know. He doesn't know if you're nuts.
Oh, he doesn't.
Yeah.
So I pulled I went for it.
To find my iPhone is like I feel like that's like the pinnacle of technology as far as security of technology.
Oh yeah.
Shit is crazy. You can't even log in to someone's phone. Like you can't even reset it or unless they have your iCloud password. So
that's crazy, man.
Shit.
I remember when there was always there was this big debate. God, I think it was a few years ago, but the FBI was wanting like a backdoor to be built in the software for the Apple, and that was like this big.
Well, that's like still their problem today. They're apparently they're going to get rid of like Twitter and Instagram on all iOS if they don't agree to their like no tracking, no cookies like laws, because iPhone's supposed to be the most secure device. They said they'll stop it altogether. I feel like they're going to lose a lot of customers, but I don't know.
Oh yeah, and I totally get like both sides, all that stuff. I used to be very I don't say used to be, I still am, but I'm not active about it, to be honest. But I'm like most people, like I'd prefer my privacy, but I totally get that. I voluntarily give up my privacy constantly, like everyone else does. But there's not, obviously there's money in it. So they're incentivized to keep getting as much as they can.
Also, as much as we want to complain about it, isn't that like the whole smart URL? Isn't that how we target audiences for advertisements and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. So
it's like we can complain about it, but it's like...
It's a big gray area, and it's like there's like all these... There's a million lines in the sand, right? And at some point, it starts getting past a point where it's like, okay, this is like totally intrusive. I'm not cool with
Nobody's
this.
looking through cameras. Like no artist's management is looking through cameras to be like, is this someone who we would value as a listener? It's just the broad, you clicked on this smart URL, we're going to send you an ad type thing.
Right.
But it definitely comes in handy sometimes when you're talking about something. You're like, yo, I need to get something that does this. And then you're just on Instagram. And they're like, oh, that's the thing that I was just talking about.
Yeah. I was like, this is so creepy and convenient at the same time.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I'm conflicted.
They're going to do it to me anyway. They might as well make it work for me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, I fucked around with that the other day. I was sitting on the couch with my girl, and we were like, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start talking about penguins, like constantly.
Oh, I do that all the time.
And then I just start seeing what's going to pop up on Instagram, and sure enough.
I do that all the time. There was this one show called, I think it was called The Circle. I could be wrong, but it was a show. It was like creepy, and then they were at an Olive Garden, like it was clearly an Olive Garden in the show.
Yeah,
but they were calling it something else, and me and my girlfriend were just like, "Oh, that's Olive Garden. Like that's an Olive Garden. That's an Olive Garden for sure." Every time, like they would bring breadsticks, and it would be like, "It's definitely Olive Garden." As soon as I get on my phone, the first thing I see was an ad for Olive Garden. And then that was a couple years ago, so I've been like fucking with it.
They're
since,
listening.
trying to get them to trigger ads.
They know all of your intimate secrets.
Which is fine.
Yeah. My everybody's a little I don't know. My dad actually works in intelligence, and so I've always been like the, fuck the system kind of artist, and my dad's like the more level-headed, like rational kind of, works in the system kind of a person.
Yeah.
So it's always interesting to to hear his side of things and his perspective, because a lot of times the sensationalized version or the conspiracy theory version isn't always grounded to reality, but then sometimes it is, and there's these little blind spots that people in the system don't quite see. And so that's why it's important, I think, to have people that are in different walks of life, like connected to you, that you can talk with, because they bring insight,
Yeah, I don't know if it's that bad. Is it really that bad? I mean, until they start charging stuff on my credit card, like without me like proving it, then I'll be concerned. But it's like, if I'm talking about a vacuum and I get an ad for that vacuum, it's like, is it really that bad?
Right. I think it's more the paranoia of like a dystopian downhill phase of like of an entire country. I'm not saying this would happen, but I think the paranoid side of like a conspiracy minded brain is that I always thought this. I was like, am I one day going to be in court because I am doing something that I am standing my ground on or disagreeing with or whatever, and somehow, somewhere, I have something on record that can be used against me without my consent, even if it's a soundbite, right? Because people can frame things in certain ways and contextualize. And so the paranoid side of me used to worry about that. The more adult side of me now knows that it's much more complicated than that, and there's so many checks and balances. I don't know, but it's fun to talk about,
It's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. At the end of but isn't it illegal to use you can't hide a wire. Like if someone murders somebody, you can't hide a wire in their house, and then even if they're like, yep, I murdered them for sure, that was me, and then they state their name and you take that to court, they're like, we can't use this.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I think currently it is.
That law was in place because of iPhone technology. That law got put in place 30 years ago because of the future of iPhones.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's totally it is illegal, but I even think about just giving anyone leverage. So like if I'm a strategic person, even just having information, if I can't use it, I can leverage that to another basically another data point, like, because I know that this is true or exists, and I can leverage it here. Again, this is so far out there, like conspiracy, paranoid stuff, but it is funny to think like to what degree, where it's all gray lines in the sand. I think I think it's a good instinct to push back on that stuff, but I also think it's a good like gut check to go, all right, it's probably not as conspiracy paranoid as the movies and people with the bullhorns are making it out to be. So, and
truthfully, I don't know anything. I have no idea.
Neither do I. I just like talking about it. Yeah. Anyway, so that was a fun little rabbit hole. But so a little bit about the music. Not so much about the FBI and the world and the system, but with the music, I'm kind of curious, man, since I just heard of you. My girlfriend told me she got Sirius XM in her car recently, so she's been listening to a lot of Octane and other stations, the alternative station and Liquid Metal and some other stuff. And so she was just kind of giving me the list of things that she heard that was up and coming. And she was actually, the conversation started kind of negative, not about you, but she was just she's like, man, it's just kind of a shitty year with like stuff that's coming out. It sounds like everybody's kind of phoning it in. And with the exception of, which her and I both like the latest album from Bring Me the Horizon.
Incredible.
Great production.
I can't believe how good that album is.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's really so top-notch production and great, just a great mixture of feeling heavy but also pleasant to the ear in a lot of ways. So with the exception of that, we've been kind of disappointed, not that super excited about too many things. Here and there, there's some stuff, but your name popped up as one of them. And so she's like, check this out. So I checked out In My Hands, and that was at first it gave me some throwback vibes when I first heard it, like to, I don't know if it was high school or something, but it like some, ironically you worked with Travis Barker, but something about the melody and the acoustic made me throw back to some of the stuff I listened back then, like in the Blink-182 era and all that.
Yeah.
And then the other stuff I heard was like so different that I was like, oh, finally, an artist who's playing around with mixing genres and exploring some of the rap and alternative side mixed with some of the, like adrenaline with the rock stuff that you mix in and the metal stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what are your influences? How'd this all come about? And
yeah, so like when I was a kid, I would listen to Slipknot. Volume 3 was like the record that, because I was 2004, so I was like 7, so that was like the first heavy thing I could listen to. I could have listened to things earlier than that, but I feel like 7's a pretty early age to even listen to Before I Forget or Duality, Guitar Hero. My dad had the album, you know what I mean? And then I got into like music choice on demand videos, like you know what I'm saying? And they had Spit It Out on there, and I would just watch that video on repeat like 10 times a day. And so I really got into that. And then by the time I was like 10 or so, 11, I was a big fan of Lil Wayne and Meek Mill. My brother put me on to that. Being from right near Philadelphia, my brother actually bought the Flamers mixtape off of Meek because he was selling them in Philly. So that was like the first thing. And I just was like, oh, I'm going to be a rapper. Like I'm going to rap. So I did rap music for about 7 years. And I actually did a cypher with Meek when I was 15. So that was like, I was like, okay, I'm made some sort of right choices. The reason I started rapping, I'm doing this with him. Yeah. Over time, I started putting just more guitars in the songs. Like there would just be guitar solos at the end of just a regular rap song. And then the beats would kind of just be like non-threatening, non-aggressive guitar riffs. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just picking or whatever. And then we started adding live drums. And then I ended up meeting my current manager now, he was like, you have live drums in there. You have guitar solos. You have guitar riffs throughout the whole song, but you're mixing it like a rap song. He's like, there's so many people doing that. He's like, there's not many people mixing them like rock songs, but using rap elements in the rock song. So about 3 years ago at this point, maybe even longer, we took everything down that I had. I had like 100 songs out. We took everything down, and the first song we put out was called Leave the Light On. I wrote it with his other artist, Grandson, and that was the first thing I put out under 0936. I used to just go by 0. Actually, at that time, it was still 0. And then we ended up changing it later on to completely separate things. Okay. So I guess the genre blending of things is really because it was kind of just always headed that way. And then to not confuse listeners, we were like, we either have to restart or we have to just keep doing what we're doing. And I felt like there was a higher ceiling for what I'm currently doing now for myself to kind of be the only person in the space that I'm trying to contain myself in. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's kind of the whole evolution of what I.
Interesting.
So
you had that much music out and you pulled it. That's
it was very, very, very ballsy, and a lot of people still are very mad at me. But I had to do it for myself, and at the end of the day, that's all I can really, I have to kind of just look out for myself first. And if people enjoy what I'm doing now, it's fucking amazing. And if not, then, I hope they find something else that they enjoy.
Yeah, they can find an old CD on eBay or something.
Hey, man, you guys do you. If you find it, have at it.
Yeah, we have like an old album, like one of our first ones that we just never reprinted that was like 1,000 copies, and we just left it at that. We didn't put. Yeah. We made a point to never put it online so that if the people that held 1,000 copies, it was kind of at their discretion how much they want to put it out in the world.
Are you going to be upset if it comes out? Are you going to be like, damn, that sucks?
I mean, I found some of it online, but they're in like little dark corners of the internet. It's not like broadcasted, and so it's still kind of special, and kind of rare. And
are you disappointed in the songs though? Like if the songs were to come out, would you be like, oh shit?
No, I mean, I've seen a few of them pop out here and there, like I said, but there's just a lot of people don't know where they're at. It's just kind of weird little spots here and
But
there.
you like the songs that are out. Like
you mean like the quality of it?
The actual songs. Are you okay with those songs? Would you re-release them right now?
No.
Okay, so that's what I'm asking.
I mean, I'm proud of them in the context of the fact that I was a high schooler. Like, at that age, I'm very proud of it in that context. But as an adult professional, like, it's not something I want representing me or,
What's crazy about that is, like, I would think the same thing. Like, I used to be like, oh, if it comes out, I was 15, I was 16, it's fine. If that'll suck because I don't want it. That's not what I want to represent myself as. But I'm like, I was good for being 16. It's like, these new artists, like the Kid Laroi. Kid is like 16. It's like I don't understand.
Really?
He's so good. Yeah, these dudes are so good, so young now. I don't know what the deal is.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it's a different world now, too.
I know, for sure. But I've engineered myself since I was like 12.
Oh, really?
Yeah, still
Did you have a laptop at the time, or were you
I had a computer that one of my family members built, and I had Cakewalk.
Yeah.
I used Cool Edit Pro shortly after. If you know what Cool Edit Pro is.
I know that name, but I never used it. So.
It ended up being Adobe Audition.
Okay.
That was like the early version. And then I went to Sony Acid, if you know what that is.
Yeah.
And then I've used Logic for about 6 years.
Okay. Yeah, I was first programming I ever did because other people recorded me, when I started.
Yeah.
But the first program I used was Fruity Loops.
That's still a good one though. Like people still get shit done on Fruity Loops.
Yeah, I haven't used it in so many years that I don't even know where it's at now. But I transitioned to Logic as soon as I got a laptop some time later, and that was
Logic is so good, especially because it's $200 and it's like it holds it down. Like it was affordable when I was 16. Like I was like, oh, I could buy this, $200.
Yeah.
Pro Tools is like $8,000 if you want the fully maxed out Pro Tools like that.
Yeah, I always get in like a DAW, which to people who are listening that don't know what that is, that means digital audio workstation. But in the industry, we call it a DAW or a DAW. That's basically like what we're talking about, like these programs that you use to record your music. And I would always get into these, kind of wrestling matches with my manager because he co-produces with us, and he'd always be in Pro Tools and I'd always be in Logic. I'm like, dude, you just got to make the switch. And he's like, no, I hate this and that about Logic. And I'd be like, I hate this and that about Pro Tools. But so we just stay in our corners now and swap files.
It all does the same thing. It's just, it's nice to argue about.
Yeah. So anyway, I forgot to mention this at the beginning. I don't want to cut our conversation off, but to everyone listening, if you have the Nothing More app, awesome. Good on you. If you don't, download that fucking thing. We're going to do an AMA at the end of this whole thing with people that are watching the live stream on the app. You can comment. You can put questions in. So we're kind of doing that as a little special thing for some of the fans. While you're watching, go download the Nothing More app and get on the stream there. But we'll chat for a little bit longer before we transition to that. But anyway, dude, so I noticed you got a lot of collabs with different people. Obviously, Grandson being one of them. I thought that was a really awesome song. And then Theory of a Dead Man and Travis Barker, and I saw a few other names in there as well. But did you just kind of reach out to these people, or did you know them already, or what?
So the first one I did was Grandson, and obviously that was my manager's other artist, and me and him have been friends for about 3 years now. So that's kind of was just natural kind of thing. Hollywood Undead, which was my probably favorite band from the time I was like 10 to 16. Like I saw them, I don't know, 8 times in concert, like one of my favorite bands ever. They kind of do the very, very, very heavy genre blending stuff with the earlier records. And their manager was a fan of mine, is a fan of mine, and he threw a show for me in November of 2020. I don't even know anymore. I don't even know what year we're in. 2019. I don't know. But he threw a show for me, and he posted on his story, like, New Hollywood Undead out now. And I was like, yo, I had no idea you managed them. I love these dudes. Like, would you want to do a song with them?
Yeah.
I was like, fuck yeah. So he sent them the end. He was like, can I just send them this record? It was unreleased at the time, but it was coming out in like 2 weeks.
Okay.
And they texted me. They're like, yo, is there any chance we could like have this record for our album? Like, we'll put verses on it. We'll leave you on the hook. Could we put it on our album? And I was like, I would love that, but it's coming out in 2 weeks. Would you guys be into doing a remix? And they're like, absolutely. So that kind of opened up a lot of the doors for collaborations for me. They were so supportive of the record. They shot the video. They posted about, they were,
Nice.
really into it. The Travis Barker thing, my manager's friends with his, and he sent it over, and Travis said he really liked the song, and he pretty much got it done the same day.
Wow.
Me and Clever have the same agent. And Theory of a Dead Man actually reached out to me about getting on that song. So that was cool. Yeah, it's just been really wild. I think everybody's kind of in the house not doing much. So everybody has a lot of time to dive in and find new stuff, and collaborations are kind of, I feel like, at an all-time high, even though everything is phoned in, like you were saying.
Yeah, true.
So.
I've been wanting to, in theory, there's like a lot of collaborations I've been wanting to do, but I've just been so deep in my own like cave right now. We're like at the deepest point of the album right now. And our process is pretty like, involved, I guess. And, so I'm like, I need to like reach out to some people and get see the light of day here pretty soon, but I'm almost done. Huh?
Features are fun. I just like collaborating. I think collaborating makes everything more interesting to me. I just love it.
Yeah.
Definitely a rap thing.
Yeah. I think when I start doing my solo stuff, maybe after this album, I'm going to be doing that a lot more. It's just, I'm in a band with, 4 people or, 3 other people, 4 total, that everyone's just so opinionated. So it's like a constant collaboration all the time. So bringing another cook in the kitchen sometimes is like hard because we're already like battling out ideas so often or working on stuff. But we did a collaboration with Jacoby
sick.
on the last album, and he did really awesome with that. I'd always loved Pop Roach growing up.
He's the best. He's the man.
Yeah. Have you ever seen him live?
A good dude. I've never seen him live, no.
Okay, so he was actually on my last vodcast before you. And
I saw
okay,
that.
cool, yeah. And honestly, I'll just be honest, I kind of lost track with them for years. They were a band I listened to growing up, but then, your musical taste evolve and you get into other stuff, and I just hadn't really kept up with them a whole lot. And then we started touring with them, and I was just blown away how they're one of those bands that live they exceed your expectations. Like
I bet Jacoby's energy is insane. We watched a football game together a couple months ago. That dude he's entertaining. He's an entertaining guy.
Oh yeah. He's always up.
His energy is unmatched.
I'm like, dude, what drugs are you on? Like, can I have some? Like,
I think none.
I know it seems all natural, but it's like, dude, I don't know how you get this energy. He's like
being around.
Yeah, he's much older than me, and he's like more energetic than me. It's insane.
He's definitely much older than me, and he's definitely got the energy. He's got the energy going.
He's insane.
We have a record coming out too. I don't want to say anything, but it's for him, so it's very
really?
cool. Yeah, I'm very excited about it. It's very cool.
Sick.
Yeah,
well, I'm excited to hear that then. And what do you mean by for him? Is that
it's on his project? It's on the Papa Roach project.
Oh, okay.
But it's really exciting for me. I don't want to say
yeah.
But it's super cool for me. So.
Dude, well, I'll be on the lookout for that. Is there any kind of like date or anything I can be looking forward to?
I don't know. I just got word that he finished up everything 2 days ago, so I'm waiting to hear it.
Okay, cool. Hey, well, good to hear that, man.
Yeah,
I love working with Jacoby. So just curious, like, have your creative process? Are you the kind of guy that pretty much collaborates from the get-go, or do you kind of start your stuff from the ground up and then collaborate? Or
Me and my producer, No Love for the Middle Child, we make everything together. We just start everything together. And it's kind of different. Sometimes I'll have a voice memo. Sometimes I'll have a reference song. Then I'm like, yo, what is this? Because he's like a musical genius. He's classically trained celloist. So I'll just show him a song and be like, yo, why do I like this? And he'll be like, oh, I got you. And then I'll just play a riff and I'll be like, yeah, that's why I like it for sure. Whatever that is. So that's kind of, that's normally how we'll make something. Whatever I'm like listening to in the week. And it can be literally anything. Like it might be Elvis. And I'm like, yo, why do I like this? And I'll be like, you like it because of this. Now let's make it a rock song. And I'm like, all right, cool.
Do you do that with food too? Or is it just
no, First of all, I throw it down in the kitchen. Don't let anyone tell you differently. But no, I'm a big food guy. So
he tells you why you like the enchiladas.
He's not. That would be more me. That's more my expertise. I would tell him why he likes enchiladas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're more the producer in that side of things.
Hey, I'm the producer in the kitchen.
Okay, all right.
Producer in the studio.
But the artist in this relationship.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
And has he produced? Who else does he produce? I'm not familiar with them.
He did Meek Mill's intro of the Championships album.
Okay.
He did Grandson and Femme song How About Now.
Okay.
He does so many things. But he's an artist as well.
Okay.
So he's but I'm trying to think. Damn.
I'm about to check out his stuff.
In me. My best friend too. He'd be disappointed right now.
Oh really?
It's all right. I'm clouded. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I got you. Well, cool. I'm gonna have to check him out, man.
Yeah, he's great.
Well, dude, I want to transition here to the app side so we can get some of our fans in here. If you're just joining or you were listening before, switch over to the Nothing More app. I'm going to actually text. This is all done in real time. This is so professional, right? I'm going to text our wonderful assistant, Mitra, to switch over to the app. And we're going to be looking here. I'm just getting on the app now if you're on and you're listening to this. So this will be the first time I look at the comments. So if you've been commenting before and you had like a burning question or something, repost it because I'm just now getting on. And here we go.
Let's go.
Oh, I hear myself talking. I'm going to turn that down. All right.
Real-time stuff's hard. It's not easy.
I know. There's always
a breeze.
Yeah. It's pretty impressive, though, that in the last few years, everything's gotten so real-time on such a consumer level. Mm-hmm. It's incredible. I think a lot of people born right now, just like every generation, they'll never appreciate it like the generation before them that like didn't have it. And now it's just like, wow, everything's so connected. The only thing, though, that they have not figured out, and I don't see a way around it unless we reinvent the laws of physics, is to jam in real time because there's always some kind of a latency.
There's I know something, and I think it's Matt Squire.
Yeah, I know that name.
He did like the first Panic at the Disco album. He did the last Neck Deep album.
Okay,
he does a lot of the Under Oath stuff.
Yes, that's what
I'm pretty positive he has something it's like half a millisecond lag.
Really?
That they're rolling out. Yeah, that dude's a genius.
Huh.
But I think he has something. So you'll see. I mean, it is, you literally, the way shit works, it goes up to a satellite and then back down.
Right.
So that trip is kind of long. But I'm pretty sure he has it figured out. We'll see.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because even at every stage, there's like a little bit of latency introduced. Even just converting things to digital, there's a tiny bit of... Some of the things now are near zero latency.
I mean, Logic, I'm still dragging my vocals back. Like, I swear they come in early. Like, I swear to God they come in early to, like, compensate for latency, and they're just early now. I could be wrong. Maybe I lost my rhythm. I don't know.
There's not to get too nerdy here while everyone's listening, but remind me to tell you after the vodcast, there's some settings with the recording delay compensation that you can adjust.
I know.
Oh, you've adjusted it and it's still...
God, bro, I swear.
Still, huh?
could be lying. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I've had some of those issues myself. It's
Yeah.
just so everyone listening knows, this is the hell of details that we get lost in, that you're like, I wonder what they're doing. It's taking them forever to make an album. It's a sea of technical problems that we
It's
have
just not turning on. The mic's not turning on.
Yeah.
That's the main problem.
Dude, I've spent some of my days where I'm like, I was so inspired and I had like so many things I wanted to lay down, and then I ran into a technical problem, fixed it, ran into a second technical problem.
It's unbelievable.
And I'm like, I just spent my whole fucking day being an IT guy. I wasn't even an artist. And
and then you don't make anything.
yeah, and so
Album delayed a day longer.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, the power that we now hold in our hands in our home studios.
It's literally insane that half the time it's literally just trying to turn things on that turned on yesterday but won't turn on today.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know what it's crazy.
Everything was just fine. What voodoo happened overnight that is causing everything to act haywire?
Even like Photoshop, because I do a lot of like merch designs and stuff for other bands and things like that. That's like I enjoy doing. I just can't export sometimes. It just won't happen. You can't save, and it's just like, why? I've been doing this for years. Why can't I save now?
Not today.
Not today. And then not ever again until I delete it and reinstall it, and still sometimes it doesn't work.
Really?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I don't know.
Okay, before we transition to questions, I want to tell you one phenomena that I have observed, and I know everyone in the world will tell me this is some form of me looking too hard into it, and they'll give me every explanation because there's always an explanation, right? But I've observed it enough to have seen a pattern that it weirds me out, that whenever I'm in some sort of an emotionally anxious or distraught state, especially if I'm nervous to show my music to someone. You know, it's still kind of in that infancy stage, and I'm a little insecure about it because it's not done yet, and it's not translating yet how I want it to. And people walk into the room to start listening. I'm telling you, like clockwork, my computer will stop working or pop up a dialogue I've never seen before. Like, there's common problems I'll run into, but I've gotten all kinds of explanations, like, oh, you're anxious, so you're probably doing anxious things to affect the computer. And I'm like, I literally did nothing. I've been sitting here and I pressed the space bar like I have just like normal the last 2 hours. But as soon as they enter the room, I'm telling you, there's some kind of, like, 20 years from now, 50 years from now, they're going to discover some kind of entanglement on some level when you're interacting with machinery that's electronic based, or I swear to God, man, it's a fucking thing. Like, it's happened enough for me to think that there's something to it.
Hey, I'll tell you what, if that does come out to be true, I'll definitely say you're the first one to say everything.
Okay.
So
for now, we're just going to go with he's crazy. And then,
that for now. But if that does come out, you were a genius. And that's and that's normally what it is, right?
Yeah.
You're crazy until you're a genius.
Yeah. Or it's just a phenomena with me and my equipment, and things are just fucked over here, you know?
Is it system overload? Is that just what you're getting every time?
No, it's something different each time. It's not a consistent, it's just things, and they usually do it in some kind of, I don't know if the word's asymptomatic, but it's never like, oh, that makes sense. Like it usually does. Like, I usually have problems that I solve, and it's like, oh, it typically does that when I overload the project or I do this. Yeah. It's always something weird, man. But anyway.
All right. You said computers can sense human stress, I guess.
It's some kind of entanglement, man. I'm down.
I'm down to hear it. I'm down to hear it out.
So, all right. I'm checking out some of the questions here. Let's go with the first one. How do you stay inspired to create? Is there anything specific you do to regain inspiration?
You want to go first?
Sure. Yeah. I would say that's like a never-ending challenge as an artist, is to make sure that you are always on top of that. And I think for me, it's just engaging with the world and trying to get interested in things that don't even have to do with music. Just being interested in something creates a domino effect, and it'll get me inspired even with music.
I agree. That's good. My main thing when I'm not inspired is I don't force myself. Like if I'm uninspired for a month, I won't make anything for a month.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I don't know. That's it for me.
Honestly, having done this for as many years as I have, and I'm sure you have as well, at some point you do like kind of learn that where when you force something and you kind of go against that internal, energy that's going the other direction, you never create anything good.
No, and I know, and the reason I know this is because the exact opposite is I made Adrenaline, the whole song with my guys Mark and Ian, the whole song. I'm the whole entire thing, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
From the guitar to the hook to the drums. They're placeholder drums, but like we got the whole demo in less than an hour. Lyrics, guitar, structure, verses, everything in less than an hour. So I know for a fact that that's the opposite is when I'm not trying, smooth sailing, and I make my best stuff. When I am trying, it's a catastrophe.
Oh, so yeah.
So I just don't, I will literally not make something for months if that means, if I'm not inspired. So, I don't know.
That's
it for me.
It sounds like crazy, but it's true.
Yeah. It's like the worst answer to that question. How do you get inspired? And it's like, I don't
do nothing.
Purposely. Yeah.
You wait on the Spirit of the Lord.
You know what I mean? I wait on my computer to sense my energy.
Yeah. There you go. Let your computer chill out and stop being a bitch, and then let your computer, bring the magic. All right. So, let's see. What advice do you have for other up-and-coming artists? What keeps you grounded as your success continues to grow? I'll let you start on this one.
Damn, I'm up-and-coming too. Shit. That's a bad question for me. I guess to get to where I am currently, I know it's the corniest answer, but isn't it just keep going? Like, literally, that's it. That's the only trick in the whole book. The only trick in the whole entire book is to just keep doing whatever it is that you think works. And don't listen to anybody else.
Unless the 100th person is telling you that you're really bad.
If every single
then
day,
maybe adjust.
If every single day someone's like, "Yo, there's nothing good about this. I'm talking about nothing. There's not an inkling of good things here."
Yeah.
Then you might have to listen.
I mean, I think you're absolutely right. Persistence is number one, and a very close number two, or tied for number one, is adjustment. If you just keep going and you keep adjusting, things inevitably get better. Unless you're just completely have no sense of anything.
Self-awareness. Yeah. I mean, if you hit a wall 150 times, it's like, all right, you might need to tweak something.
Yeah. Something.
And that doesn't even mean you're far off either. If you hit a wall 150 times, you tweak one thing and it goes.
Right. And to recognize it's a wall, that's a whole nother thing. Cause I mean, we had about 5 singers before I started singing. I was the drummer originally, started the band back in middle school. And so we hit a ton of walls and did so many building up and tearing down. And each time it got a little bit bigger, but each time it was even more painful to tear it down because it felt like we were going backwards, And
you felt like you were going up. And then you're like, all right, restart is like, I'm going further down because I only restarted from here last time. Now I'm restarting from here and now here.
Right.
But it's clearly was worth it and worked out for the best.
Yeah. And I think accompanied with that is just keeping your eye on the goal and your vision and not settling for anything. And so even the fear of losing something that you have is so outweighed by the immensity of the vision you have for how great it could be, So, keep your eye on the prize. Let's see another question here. Scrolling through the comments. Where are they at? Will tours be COVID vaccine only? That's an interesting question.
Absolutely.
Dude.
100%.
I personally say fuck that personally, but I totally respect.
I guarantee it.
Dude.
Because the only reason I say that is because once the vaccine is readily available to whoever wants to go get it at their local Rite Aid, If you don't get it at that point, the hospital is not going to want to take care of, let's say, half the concert in one, let's say it's a 21 Pilots concert, it's fucking 20,000 people. Half of that concert doesn't feel like getting the vaccine, and they then spread 10,000 more cases in that city. I'm not talking about in that same night. I'm just saying the hospital's not going to want to take care of that. And I think the health department or whatever the fuck is going to put that as a regulation that you have to be vaccinated. I could be completely off base. I have no idea. I'm not a doctor, but
yeah,
that's my guess.
I totally get that perspective from a predictive sense, from a personally emotional, like the world I want to live in sense. I say fuck that 150 fucking %, because I'm totally for vaccines and I'm totally for people getting them. But I am totally not for anyone dictating what I put in my body or don't, and in order to be a part of a public event. I don't give anyone that power.
I agree, but I do agree with that, but that's why flu shots and other things aren't mandatory, and also concerts are not a human right. So
well, I guess nothing is if you define it like that. I mean, me walking outside isn't a human right, but
if they're like no water unless you get vaccinated, you're like, okay, hold on,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a right to assemble in a group, though. I mean, it is a right to decide freely that I decide to put myself at risk or whatever it is. I mean,
right. If I want to, hard though, with this current situation specifically.
Right.
So I don't know. Yeah,
man, it's a pretty divisive point right now. I mean, because it is such a, I think that we're so aware now that things, I mean, there's been shit around for a long time. There's been thousands and thousands of flu deaths every year, but nobody gave a fuck about it because it wasn't publicized in a way that it is now. This is obviously more contagious.
Yeah.
We are more aware than we've ever been, and we're basically reporting on and tracking things in an entirely different manner than we ever have in the past.
Right.
At the same time, I don't like what the logical next step. Everything you said is the logical next step.
That's what I'm. Yeah,
it's logical.
Yeah,
I just don't like it.
It doesn't feel comfortable to think about at all, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I do think. But I could be wrong.
It's a tough one, man, and it is very divisive. I mean, even when the guys in my band and I talk about this stuff, we disagree on so many things, and it is interesting because it is a new puzzle for humans to figure out, in a sense, because we've never quite been in this situation. Obviously, we've had pandemics in human history, but not with social media and global travel and et cetera, et cetera.
News outlets of that.
Yeah.
The news wasn't what it was. It was way different. They report in real time now.
Right. So. Man, I thought about that with even Europe, and I was like, am I going to be required to, XYZ? And then let's say that's just this one instance, right? Like that's the new normal for this situation. Let's say it's COVID. And everybody's like, come on, it's logical. Just then, if that's now the new normal, what's the next thing I'm required to? Right. And then the next thing I'm required to. I just don't like that world. Scary. I don't want to open that door. And I think we should push people to be healthier and to like make smart choices, and we should incentivize those things. But creating laws in which I can, at the end of a law, put someone in a cage or prevent them from entering certain places, that's like a world I don't want to be a part of. Very scary when you put it that way. Yeah. Yeah. If that's going to open up the door for future you have to's, then it's pretty scary. Oh, it most definitely will, because when you look at laws and how when they legislate anything, it always sets a precedent for the next thing and then the next thing. And it's hard to undo those things. Anyway, sorry, we don't need to go down a political rabbit hole. But no, that's not even political. That's just like, that's just like a fact. It's more of a it's more of like a strategy issue or something. All right. So let's see what happens. Yeah. God, it's a weird world right now, man. you ever get pissed off with your bandmates when trying to reach a creative compromise?
I don't have a band. So you do-
Lucky. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm so thankful for my band. At the same time, it is 100 times more frustrating having to balance a democratic process with 3 other people.
I believe that. I believe that.
Yeah, so I envy you when I'm like a few hours into an argument on a part with the guys, and it's like, God, we could have like moved here by now. It moves slower, but consensus does bring a layer of things that are really cool. So it's just a trade-off, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'm like, I think I would like to be in a room with other people who have the same goal as me. Now, obviously, my producer is my best friend. I'm sure we have the same goal, but he doesn't receive the same benefits as me at the end of the day, truthfully. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't get he can't sell as many tickets as me if my record goes huge. He's still selling the same amount as his artistry. So I feel like the trade-off is that all 4 of you are doing one common goal to 100%. You know what I mean? Like, it's a different thing. It's your own baby.
Right.
Instead of some other baby you care about deeply.
Yeah, and sometimes 4 mothers just rip the baby's limbs off as they all pull on it in different directions,
Yeah, but you all get a limb to go home with.
All right. I want to pick like 2 more here, and then I'm going to let you go, man. I've taken up a bunch of your time, and I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
Let's see. Let's see. These are comments. These are not questions. All right, people, give me a question. Let's see. Let's just make up a question. I can't find
I'm going
one.
to say, I'll give you a question.
Yeah.
All right. Let me think. I don't want to ask you something that's already like, why did you pick Nothing More? I don't want to ask that question. I'm sure you've answered that 3,000 times.
Yeah. I mean, I can if you want, though.
I'm sure everybody on this app knows why you did that.
I mean, I can give you a quick answer on that one, but when we were, I told you I started the band in middle school, and we had
same name since middle school.
The name was in high school, so we had about 5 to 10 names before Nothing More. And the irony of Nothing More was that one of our guitar players, who's no longer in the band, but I started it with him, Josh Kirscheville, when he heard the name Nothing More, which was an idea that I had, he was like, yes, Nothing More, no more names. This is the last one. That was his like sign that that's going to be the one. For me, though, it was basically after watching some of the bands we'd go see as kids, as a child, as kind of like an innocent, open observer, I would just watch like these adults at the time who were professionals, how they treat people and how they would basically treat their profession. It seemed like half of them took it entirely for granted and were always finding something to complain about. And the other half were super humble and grateful and treated their fans like really like the supporters that they really are, that prop them up. And so it was kind of like a note to my future self that no matter how much success we get, that we're nothing more than a bunch of kids in high school that love music, and it was just kind of that. It was like a humbling reminder, but also there was something about the name that I didn't even quite understand that I liked. And years later,
has a good ring.
Huh?
Has a good ring.
It was something like almost philosophical that I couldn't put my finger on. But then as I got more into Alan Watts, who's on our albums, he's like a voice piece for Eastern philosophy, and I got real into like Western philosophy and how they're different and how they overlap in the modern world. It made me think of nothingness and more. In Western philosophy, it's all about fulfillment and attainment and growth and capitalizing, and Eastern philosophy is all about emptiness and hollowness, not as a negative but as a positive thing, and nothingness. And whereas in the West, we view nothingness as like nihilism. It's like turns into a negative attribute. So those two things overlapping, even our logos like this, overlapped
Right.
It's actually a math symbol that means the overlap of two differing logical systems. And
let me see that, because I was looking at the logo and I was like, hold on.
yeah.
I was looking at it.
It's almost like two triangles.
I was like, there's no way this is an N and an M, and I'm missing. I see the M, and I see like where it could be an N. Was that what it's supposed to be? Like an N and an M?
Honestly, we went with this whole symbols theme on our artwork on our self-titled album.
Yeah.
And they're all math symbols. And so we used like the concepts of what the math symbol stood for in words to make sentences. So it was like a code. And that one just looked like the one that was our logo, and the meaning kind of paralleled nothing and more. And
because it's almost an N and
it's
an
almost,
M,
yeah.
But I was like, am I missing is it in between?
Right.
But no, a question I would definitely have for you is what is this, your fifth album?
Oh God! Count the ones I've had my voice on as the lead singer. Let's see, the Fear Not Fleeting, self-titled, the stories you tell yourself. This would be the fourth with me being the lead singer.
Is this one different than the other three? Like, are you trying to be nothing more again, or are you trying to? You know what I mean? That's the thing that I have the problem with, because I'm only on my second EP as this genre, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to be this again. Like, I don't think I want to do. I want it to be all under one umbrella, obviously, but I want it to be like objectively better, or objectively worse,
right?
To whoever's listening.
Yeah, I think so. So we observed certain people's careers growing up, and there was those bands that you would see that would never evolve enough, and every album sounded just like the last one. And then there was bands that I felt went too far off the deep end into kind of their own artistic, artsy fartsy, like, they're kind of just jacking off to the sound of their own ideas. And but they're not like grounded in anything. And I've always aimed for something in the middle where you don't lose the reason people followed you in the first place. And to me, that's more of an energetic thing. I think if you hold on to the energy behind the music, if this music is called Nothing More, it has to encapsulate a certain energy that they expect from it. And the way we accomplish the energy might be the creative part, but as long as we don't lose that. And if I'm going to do something outside of that energy, then I'm going to call it something else.
Yeah, right. And that's what I was going to say. Yeah, it's hard because I don't want to give the same thing every time, but I also don't want to go so far out that people like go, what the fuck is this?
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, that's kind of the goal, right? For people to be like, yo, what's going on here? And then to hopefully that they like it. But upon first listen, I don't know, it's like Yeezus. First time I heard that album, I was like, yo, what's really going on here? And now it's my favorite album of all time. I feel like with most people too, like Jordan from Bring Me the Horizon, he's every time, like anytime he breaks down a song, he's like, so this is kind of like the Yeezus 808. It's like, it's like the best album ever. So
yeah,
it's interesting.
Nice. Appreciate the questions, man. I'm gonna see if there's a last one here, and we'll wrap it up. Of course, my video shut down.
Your video shut down?
All right, it closed out of it on accident.
I see you still. That's good.
Okay. Last question. I think this is actually there's two. I want to answer one of this. It's kind of fun.
Yeah,
I've been super into the stock market lately, which is not music at all. Not the this was before the whole GameStop thing and all that. That was kind of like big news for a little while. But my buddy Josh, who I was telling you started the band with me in middle school, he ended up taking the route of becoming an investment banker and like a broker and stuff. So about 2 years ago, I started investing with him, and he's been helping guide me through the investment process. And I find it in our industry, especially, one of the red flags I always looked out for was that artists are typically impulsive people. That's what usually makes their music so good, is because you go with your impulses when you're creating. But when it comes to managing money and stuff, it's usually a bad idea.
Horrible. I'm
right?
The worst. Yep.
So, and the increase over the last few years of just how much influence the average Joe has over corporations and people and brands based on their opinion and their ability to go unfollow or whatever. The rise of cancel culture and the rise of all these like kind of pushes to control, in my view, it is an attempt to control art through the public, marketplace. And to me, I always want to be in control of the art and not the other way around. And so I started getting into investing because I'm like, you know what? If my money is right and I got my money, my business taken care of outside of the music industry, I can say whatever the fuck I want if I believe it in my heart and I feel true to it. And I don't have to fear the consequences of people not agreeing with me all the time, right? And so I got two questions that connected. One was asking if we were into stocks and the crypto hype. And then the other question after it was, when you write music, do you think if people will like it or not? Or is it just about if you like it? And so it kind of connected those two ideas in my head. And I'll wrap this up so I can let you answer. But on the crypto side, I actually made a decent amount of money recently on Bitcoin. Just a little bit that I was playing with. It wasn't something I was putting a bunch into. That's kind of fun. I do have some thoughts on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, but in regards to just finances in general and stocks, I think it's really kind of fun to get into. It's like a legitimate, a casino that has a little more, it's less chance based. There's more, predictable market forces at play. But in regards to the music and people liking it or not, I have to like it first, and then secondary is whether they like it or not, and just taking their opinion as a mirror of sorts and weighing it,
Yeah. Well, first with the crypto, I've been into crypto for about 3 years. I made my first investment in Bitcoin in 2017. And then it fucking tanked. So then I was like, yo, fuck this. I'm never doing this again. And then about 9 months ago, I started getting into Chainlink. I do a daily recurring investment on Chainlink. I do 3 daily recurrings a daily recurring investment on Chainlink, and then one bigger one every Friday. It's all like pre-set up. I don't do anything. I just have my bank account set up and it goes. I do 3 daily on Ethereum and one big one every Friday. I find coins that I think are going to do well, like Cardano. I put $1,000 in there 3 days ago. People were hating on Cardano, so like I stayed out of it because of one guy that I really trust was like, nah, fuck Cardano. And then the other day, this dude I was watching, he was like, if you don't invest in Cardano, buy today. You're a fucking idiot. And I was like, all right, I don't want to be a fucking idiot. Then I tripled my money on that like in one day.
Nice.
But yeah, a lot of these the crypto shit it's literally just about watching like YouTube videos of people who stare at graphs all day, and they'll tell you, they're like, you want to be an idiot? Then don't invest here. And I'm like, well, I don't want to be an idiot. So then I invest. Stock market, I'm not too crazy about. I feel like you can't really see a return on investment. And the 9 to 5 thing is super lame to me. And the no weekends is kind of lame. I feel like we're past the need for stocks. Like we're not trust, like that's a bad example, but for the average person who doesn't want to be in corporate shit, crypto is the way for sure. And like even Elon Musk just said, like that's going to be the future currency, and I believe it. So I have 4 times my money on Dogecoin. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. It was the stupidest investment. I was talking to, I have a few friends that I talk to every day, and they're like, yo, it's either going to crush like now or it's going to be absolutely horrible. And I was like, well, let's take the chance.
It's incredibly volatile at this phase of its development, and evolution. So now is the time to make a bunch of money or crash and burn. I wouldn't recommend anybody putting a big chunk of their money or anything that's going to like hurt them if things go south. But if you want to play with some money,
invest the money that you can afford to lose.
Right. If you want to play with some money, I think it's awesome.
It is the casino though, like you said.
Right.
It is.
I think, for sure. Now on the stock market side, this is why I'm thankful for my buddy, because he does like guide me when I'm bouncing ideas off of him, or he's bringing companies and ideas to mind. But so far, I want to give him a shout out real quick. His name is Josh Kirschville. It's Kirschville and Company. They're in San Antonio. He started Nothing More with me. Now he does this. If you want to invest, go use him. He's like the best dude. I vouch for him 1,000% as a person. He's also very conservative with money, so he's not gonna tell you a bunch of lies kind of guy. He always hedges his words and says, this is what it could do, this, whatever. But so far, man, he's got me in a few stocks where, like Shopify, I got in early on that one with him.
Wow.
And I have like 10 times my money with that one.
I believe that.
He got me in on Nvidia early. I have about 5 times my money with that one. Now, this isn't every stock, but all of them. Of course, the market right now is exceptionally good. So knock on wood, it's probably going to come back down.
Yep.
But so far, doing really, really well. And I think it's a good area to like just be knowledgeable in or start learning and play with little amounts of money and invest. Because if you just put your money aside and you're not investing it, it's depreciating in value. It's actually going down. So there's different ways you can invest too, not just stock market.
They say that all cryptos are about 20% of what they're going to be right now. So it's not too late.
Yeah. I do. Bitcoin, I was super skeptical about in the early phases, just like most of the old guys in like the financial world who are like the Warren Buffetts and the Kevin O'Leary and the people that have been investing for years and are more by the book traditional investors. They're like, this is garbage. It's just make believe. And
it is.
But the new generation kind of understands that, well, so is gold originally. It's make believe. We agree it has a value, but this one has a more this one has a utility tied into it.
Yeah, I mean, even as funny as it sounds, I left a couple thousand in Doge because I could be completely wrong and I could lose all my money tomorrow. I have no idea, but
True.
I have a feeling with the amount of people who've invested in Doge. I know it's a joke and I know it's a meme. I don't know if the company can actually be acquired, but if someone wants to turn Doge into a blockchain for whatever they're doing, they have so many invested users and that price will go 10 times what it already is now. So I don't know. I could be wrong, but I'm just thinking like that. I'm like, I might as well take a risk. I took out my initial investment and I left the rest in.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's good. It's super speculative right now for sure, but I do see like even Tesla buying so much Bitcoin. That was a huge sign to potentially, I'm hoping that's a leading trend that other companies follow. But at the end of the day, it's kind of an interesting hedge, which basically just mean, hedging your bets. There's like, it doesn't move with the market in the same pattern. Yeah. So if everything goes down, it might be going up. It kind of balances some things, but
yeah, I mean, Cardano was the only thing going up 3 days ago and everything else was going down. Everything was losing value. Cardano was the only thing going up. And clearly that guy knew that because it like you said, it is more stable than a casino. It's not really a 50-50. There's a trend, there's a graph. You can look at the buy sell. It's not like roulette. So
Right. It's a casino without the free drinks, but it's a little more stable. Right.
I don't drink anyway, so I don't need the free drinks. But they do give me free coffee anytime I'm there, so I do enjoy that.
Nice. Well, man, on that note, everybody, thanks for sticking around with us and checking in on the app. We're going to do this again. Thank you for coming, Matt. Check out Zero. Check out his music. Check out my favorite song, In My Hands, and Adrenaline. Those are my 2 jams.
Thank you, bro.
But dude, thanks for joining.
Great. Thanks for having me. Thanks for reaching out. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure, man. Maybe we'll collab sometime. Once
Absolutely. Let me know.
Get through this behemoth of an album, and we'll see. But anyway, dude, wishing you the best. I'll be keeping my ear open for the new stuff.
Cool. All right, brother. Thank you so much.
All right, brother. Later.
Good day.